you get out of this is that we have been spending it's only been about 8 months since this whole project came to be, really doing our homework and taking a serious look at what this project should be. And so we have world-class experts here that have been doing the analysis and helping us really think through it. And I think you'll hear tonight we don't have all the answers, but we're really excited to share with you what we know. So I, who would love to spend the full hour talking about the program, won't do that. But I really want to kick this off by just reminding us what this campus is all about, and then turn it over to the people that you really need to hear from, who will talk about the vision for the campus, some of the land use actions, some of the zoning changes, and the actual reasons we're here. So please bear with me while I spend just a few minutes talking about the campus. So as I think all of you know, Mayor Bloomberg a couple of years ago had an amazing vision with his colleagues actually at EDC to create a tech campus in the heart of New York City. And the reason for that is the tech sector is just ready to burst here in New York City, but the one thing the tech sector needs is talent. And so what we're here to do is actually create a world-class graduate campus that provides that talent for the tech sector. So we were selected with our academic partners, the Technion, in December of 2011. So it's really pretty amazing to me that it's been less than a year since this whole process has unraveled. In some ways it feels like 10 years, there's a little bit of gray in there that didn't used to be there, but it's moved very quickly. The world is watching, and the reason the world is watching, and there's been so much press around this, is because the vision really does resonate. I can't tell you how many people come up to me and say, this is an amazing project, it is so good for New York City, it's so good for New York State, it's so good for the country and the world. And so it's really an honor and a privilege to be working on this. And I think one of the more recent Roosevelt Island residents, I'm hoping you would agree that it's an honor and privilege to be bringing a campus like this to Roosevelt Island. But we do want to talk through with you now what the plans are. Let me spend just a minute talking about the campus itself and our vision for it. And I apologize if I turn my back and you can't hear me, just wave from the back of the room. I want to spend a few seconds actually talking about this first bullet, what our vision for this campus really is. And there's some key words here that I want to highlight. The first one is graduate. This is a graduate campus only. We will not be offering undergraduate degrees. We'll have master's degree students and PhD students. There may be some undergraduates participating in workshops and taking internships and that kind of thing, but the degree programs will really be focused on graduate because that's what the city really needs for this talent base. I'm going to talk in a minute about what we think makes this unique as far as tech education, so hold that thought for a minute. But there are 3 key concepts here that I want to highlight. The first is academic excellence. Cornell and our partner, the Technion, we're world-class academic institutions, and this campus will be nothing less. We're really focused on academic excellence. And if you look at some of the faculty we're starting to hire, you'll see that we truly mean that. This is going to be an education second to none for our students. The second thing is commercial success. The whole point here is to engage our students and our faculty with industry that results in more jobs and more businesses and more industry. And that's what we're engaged with. And the reason I mention it here is because it's helping to shape the form of the campus. The last thing is societal good. This is an explicit part of our mission statement, that everything we work on is really focused on community and doing good for society. I know that's horrible English, but it seemed to work. So I'll come back to that also. I can't imagine doing this any place but New York City. Truly, New York City, for a variety of reasons I won't get into here, is really what's going to make this campus successful. We are focused on building a culture of entrepreneurial spirit with our students and our faculty. That doesn't mean everybody's going to be an entrepreneur when they leave the campus, but it means they're going to have that spirit of innovation. And again, that's driving a lot of our campus design, and that's why I mentioned it here. Companies and not-for-profits on our campus. You will see that we are being very deliberate at trying to attract companies that are members of this tech ecosystem to the campus. If you look at the successful world-class universities right now, they do this. They really engage companies that want to work directly with faculty and students and engage on a daily basis. And we're being very deliberate with that, and Andrew and some of the other team members will talk about that in a minute. And finally, the bottom line is we want this campus to really be a magnet for the tech sector here in New York City. So what does this mean? Our vision for the tech sector in New York is different than what you see in some other places in the country or in the world. We think the tech sector is really shifting from technology for tech's sake to technology in support of industry. And our vision is to focus on those industries that are really world-class in New York City and engage them with our tech campus. And I will show you some of those industries in a minute. So New York truly is positioned to be this, the new tech capital of the world. When we do this, you can easily see the estimated private sector job creation will be in the thousands and potentially in the hundreds of thousands. Let me talk for a minute about Technion. Technion is our academic partner. They are a world-class institution that has really helped to transform the Israeli economy. 25 years ago, I think it's fair to say that Israel was primarily an agricultural economy, and today they are really a tech-driven economy. And Technion graduates are right in the middle of it. I will talk in a minute about what Technion's role is on this campus, but we're delighted to have them as partners. Here's what we're going to be doing on the campus. We are going to be offering a number of, again, all graduate degrees. So Cornell will be offering, we have the ability right now to offer 5 graduate degrees. They're all master's degrees in engineering-related fields, and one of them is an MBA with a technical focus. With the Technion, we are planning 3 potential dual degrees that will be 2-year degrees. Again, very technically oriented, but these dual degrees, because they're 2 years, will focus on the industry areas that I just mentioned, so they'll be a little bit different. I already talked about the entrepreneurial culture that's going to permeate through the curriculum. The curriculum is going to be very innovative. I talked about hubs. These are the actual areas that we're going to be looking at in our curriculum, and there are 3 right now. And many of you may have already heard me say these will change over time. These are not something we're going to put in place in 50 years from now. We're still going to be working on the same areas. And the way we selected these areas, the tech in support of these areas, is based on the industries, again, relevant to New York City that you can see on the right-hand side there. So our faculty and students will be doing research and studying these industries and technology in support of these industries. So what are we doing now? While we're planning this fabulous campus for Roosevelt Island, which will open in 2017, we've actually opened our doors. So thanks to a generous donation from Google, we have space for the next 5 years in Chelsea. It's fabulous space. I encourage everybody to visit if you can. Let me know if you're coming. We've hired some faculty. We've actually started admissions for the first degree program, and that will start in January of 2013. Some of you may have seen some of the press. We started this very unique partnership with the Department of Commerce, and that's an innovation center that actually is already located with us in Chelsea. And what that does is create a resource. This hasn't been done anywhere else in the country. This is a resource for entrepreneurs across New York City, actually across the metro area, if people want help kind of navigating patent issues or copyright issues or all the other intellectual capital questions that they may have as they're trying to get their businesses up and running. And we're very excited to have that individual with us, and the goal is that she would, and her operation would move with us to Roosevelt Island. We've established a steering committee. We have 3 fairly well-known tech entrepreneurs that have agreed to give the campus leadership advice and guidance. And those 3 entrepreneurs are, you've probably heard of all 3. One is Mayor Bloomberg, who's quite an entrepreneur in and of himself. The second is Eric Schmidt from Google. And the third is Erwin Jacobs, who founded Qualcomm. So we're delighted to have them giving us advice and guidance as we move forward. And the last bullet here is what you're all here to hear about, which is we're planning the permanent campus. So let me go very quickly, talk a little bit about our community mission here and then turn it over to Andrew. Cornell is the land-grant institution for New York State. And what that means, I strongly suggest you Google that if you don't know what that means. But in a nutshell, what that means is that is a core part of our charter. It's our mission to work on public service and outreach across the state. We're in every one of the boroughs here in New York City. We're in every county across the state. When we are part of a community, we do everything we can to support that community. So I could go on a long time about that, I won't, but it's a really important piece of our charter that I wanted to make sure you all knew about. Here in New York City, you're probably aware we have over 50,000 alumni. We have quite a strong presence here in the city who also are very invested in the city. While Cornell has been here since 1898, and it's directly across the river. I think from here we have the best view of all. It's literally directly across the river. I mentioned Cornell Cooperative Extension being in all 5 boroughs, and they do everything from nutritional programs to K through 12 to actually training the grounds crew here on Roosevelt Island. They do a lot of things. And then finally, almost every college based in Ithaca actually has offices and programs here in the city. Some of you may have taken classes at ILR, for example, our labor relations school here in the city. So we do quite a bit. I think this goes without saying, but our connection to the tech community is quite strong and will become even stronger. I'm going to move quickly now. I do want to spend a second talking about this slide. As part of our deliberate mission here for the Cornell Tech campus, we are really focused on doing what we can to invest in STEM education, science, technology, engineering, and math for New York City school children. And that's going to begin here on Roosevelt Island. So we've had a couple of conversations with the principal here in the school. We're going to have more. We're not going to wait until 2017 to do what we can to help to really engage with the schools here and really help with STEM education. Now, we'll tell you that right now our thinking is focused around the middle school years, but we're still shaping what this actual program would look like. The community, the campus itself. Andrew's going to talk in a minute about what the acreage means for open space, but a big part of our thinking was making sure this new campus is a wonderful resource to those of us that live here on the island, and actually to all New Yorkers. I know people will start going down to the Four Freedoms Park, and having this campus be adjacent to that and being able to enjoy it as open space is really important to us, and you'll start seeing some of our plans there. We are going to be very deliberate about programming indoor and outdoor spaces, and what that means is offering cafes that will again be a resource to this community. In nice weather, you can open the doors, you can sit outside, and you'll see all of these plans. Community access to our facilities. We will certainly have meeting rooms that will be accessible to the community. Andrew or somebody on the team will be spending a little bit of time talking about the street itself, the road, the ring road around the campus. But as part of our project, we will actually be widening it, improving it, and adding a bicycle lane to it. Part of our project is bringing high-pressure gas to the island. Again, we'll talk a little bit more about that later. And then finally, we fully believe that having a bunch of hungry students here, among other things, will really do a lot to help support Roosevelt Island retail. Wrong way. Broader impacts, jobs. Clearly a big part about why the mayor launched this initiative is to create jobs. So not only will there be jobs that I talked about before, 30,000 to 120,000 jobs being the wide range, there will be construction jobs, there will be jobs in our campus when we open the doors, and all of these will be, I think, a significant resource for people who are interested in this kind of jobs. Some of you may have heard a little bit about our $150 million investment fund, and we've actually already started with that. So we have taken a part of Cornell's endowment, and we're very deliberately investing it with investors here in New York City who are investing in startups here in the city. So that has already begun. And then finally, we're working with some of the Queens community to see how Queens actually can be a launching pad for some of our students for other activities when we're done. So with that, actually, I will turn it over to Andrew.
Thank you.